Hi everybody, this is That Sweet Intern, and as you can tell by the wonderful illustrations, today we're going over best time to buy and sell stock. So some tips before we get started. First thing, make sure you do the problem before you watch this video, so you can pause, go do the problem, and come back. And two, don't just look at the solution, really understand where you can improve for next time. Okay, so let's understand this problem. So we get an input array, and this array is basically a list of stock prices. And we also want our output to basically be the maximum profit that we can get. And a key thing that we should understand is we have to buy first and then sell at a later date. So you can't just pick two numbers and then take the difference. It has to be buying on an earlier number and selling on a later number. And also another thing that is really important to understand is we basically want to buy low and sell high. Right, so a lot of these algorithms will basically be using this idea. All right, so let's go over some examples. Okay, so this is our first example. So for this input, the solution would be 5. So why would it be 5? You can basically look and see that we can buy on this day at the price of 1, and then sell on this day at the price of 6. So our profit is 6 minus 1, which is 5. Okay, so for this example, we can see that the stock prices are always decreasing, so it never makes sense to ever buy and then sell, because that's just losing money, right? So in this case, where there's no reasonable way to buy or sell, the output is 0 because we just don't want to do anything, right? Okay, so what are some algorithms that we can develop to solve this problem? So the first algorithm that we might think of is the brute force algorithm. So let's consider the example that we had before. Okay, so we take this example and we can consider every possible way we can buy and sell. So this is why it's called brute force, right? So let's say we buy on day 7, or sorry, we buy at a price of 7, and let's say we sell at 1. Then we're losing money, right? Because we bought at 7, sold at 1, so that's -6. So we basically look through all the possibilities. So for example, sell at 1, sell at 5, sell at 3, sell at 6, sell at 4. None of these make any money, right? So we can try buying at the value 1, right? So we can try sell at 5, sell at 3, sell at 6, and note that if we sell at 6, then our max profit is actually 5. Our profit is 6 minus 1, which is 5, right? So even though we know that's the correct answer, this still has to go through all the possibilities, because there might be there's a chance that the optimal solution is not actually 5, right? So it would have to do this pattern all the way through, right? So it would then buy at 5 and then sell and so on, right? Okay, so what's the time complexity of this? So the time complexity would be O of n squared. So why is it O of n squared? Because we're basically looping over and over again, right? So we start at 7 and then consider these numbers. And then we start at 1 and then consider these numbers. And then we consider these numbers. And then we consider these numbers, and so on, right? So that sum, the amount of work that we're doing, is n plus 1, n minus 1 plus n minus 2 plus all the way down to 1, right? And this is around O of n squared. Okay, so can we do better than, n squared time? So the answer is that we can do better. This algorithm, the minimum so far algorithm, is O of n. So let's look at how it works. So basically the idea with min so far is we consider selling on different dates, right? And remember that if we sell on a certain date, we have to have bought on a previous date, right? So for example, let's say we are selling at the value 6, right? So what are the possible times that we can buy, right? We can buy at any of these times. And what's the best time to buy? The best time to buy is just the lowest price, right? So the best would be the value 1. And this would have a profit of, 6 minus 1, which is 5, right? Okay, so the idea behind this algorithm is basically for each possible selling time. So for 1, we look at the minimum value of the possible buying times. So how would this look? Let's say we're selling at the value 1, we would check the minimum possible, and here 7 minus 1 or 1 minus 7 doesn't get any profit, right? So we can try the value 5, right? So here we can actually buy at 1 and sell at 5 for a profit of 4, right? And then we can continue doing that down the array. So for example, 3, you can check all of these values, right? And then at 6, you can check all of these values, and so on. Okay, so the reason that this is linear time is because we are updating our minimum value so far as we go. So we start at this value, and initially the minimum so far is just 7, right? And this doesn't make any profit. But now, when we move to checking the value 5, we update the minimum that we've seen so far by including checking with the 1, right? So now the minimum we've seen so far in this range is actually 1. And then when we go to our next value, which is the 3, we can do another update for our previous range. Here the minimum is actually still equal to 1, right? So in that way, we're actually just doing linear time. The runtime is O of n, right? Because we're just doing constant time steps, and we just have n of these things, right? Where n is the length of the array. Okay, and our space complexity is also constant, because we're not using any extra data structures. Okay, so this is how we would code up the solution. We define n as the length of our array. The best profit initially is set to 0. The minimum value so far is just the value of the first value of the array. And then for each value in the array, we do some updates, right? So here we are updating our best profit. So we just take the maximum of the best profit we had initially and the current profit of that day, right? So prices of I, that's just the current selling price, and min so far is the minimum buying price. So this is the best that we can do at day I, right? So we make that update, and then we also update the minimum buying price that we've seen so far. Okay, so that was the solution to best time to buy and sell stock. If you liked today's video, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe if you want weekly coding practice. And also make sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought and what I can improve upon. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.